Solana is tanking towards the $25 mark and even the $20 mark. We did a video 5 days ago anticipating this, and today I'm going to focus on the particular chart pattern that is a very strong signal that we're going to get lower lows happening, especially with Solana. So if you like today's content, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. My name is Jagir. I'm the award-winning author of The Extraordinary New Venture Capital Opportunity, How to Invest Like a Pro. Used to focus on Forex back in the day, but now exclusive on crypto. So let's dive into Solana. So the video I did on June 25th, we said Solana is likely to crash below $20, detailed Solana price analysis, high probability trade setup. Now, I'm going to cover this in a lot of depth today because this is important. The biggest thing I'm trying to get across, how successfully I'm doing, I don't know. I'm trying to get across that the fundamentals, the news does not matter. On all markets, all time frames, it's the psychology that is literally determining the price action. And what we saw on the 25th was something called an overlapping structure, where the waves are overlapping. When we see this overlap, I'm going to dive into a bit more detail in a second. This is likely to continue to a new low below the former low, right? In other words, continue the former trend, right? That's what we said with Solana. So let's dive into a live chart. Now, before I do, just so you know, I'm going to cover a lot of Elliot Wave. Elliot Wave is the best way by far, by reading the market psychology. In other words, the price. What's likely to happen with the price next? Mass herd psychology is 2 steps behind the market. We're trying to get 2 steps ahead so we can foresee, just like we did with Solana, and see shorting opportunities, profit-taking opportunities, or just stand aside. So I've got a free Elliot Wave Masterclass in the link below. Take it, it'll really upskill you because I've spent a lot of time just getting the core fundamentals across. So this is the price that we're looking at with Solana. So I'm going to draw something here. It's called an A, B, C, D, E correction. And I'm going to make it a bit bigger so you can really see these lines, the thickness of these lines, and we'll make it nice and bright. We'll make it orange. Yeah, that makes it clear enough. Right? The key thing that caused us to say this in the video with confidence, and it's always probabilities, never certainties. No one knows, including me, what's going to happen. We can only look at the market structure to see what is the current psychology of buying and selling. And if we can identify these chart patterns, are we in a correction or are we in an impulsive trend? It's reasonably clear to see what's likely to occur next. So when we see something like this, these are called overlapping waves. At this point, we wouldn't have known. At this point, we would not have known. But as soon as it dropped back into this range of the previous wave structure, then all of a sudden, this becomes a high probability ABC correction. We went low, but then it made a new high. So then it's like, okay, now it's an A, B, C, D, E. It's the second most common type of correction that you'll see in the crypto markets and all markets in that case. So why did we say, and it's not done yet, right? We're not at $20 yet. We've gone from, when we did the video, around $40, $42, and now we're currently at $31. So it's a big move to the downside, like 25%. So what is the typical range that we should anticipate? Well, once the price makes a new low, we actually do something called an external retracement. These are Fibonacci ratios. I actually cover this in the masterclass where we measure this move up and we have something called external retracement. So this is what we're basing the $20 on, right? $21 to $15 for Solana. And it looks like we're on that way. We might have some pullbacks in between, but it's likely, not guaranteed, but likely now that we've had this big movement to the downside, again, from the 25th, it was only the beginning of the move. It was that last bar, this bar up here, when we did the video. I think this was the 25th, and literally the following day, it started towards the downside. So what do we do with this information? Well, it depends on your strategy, right? It depends if you're just a long-term hodler of Solana, just anticipate. So what I want to make really clear, and you're going to appreciate this to a degree that you're just not going to get this information anywhere else, is what is highly probable to occur with Solana next. So let's just say this unfolds, and it's not going to be healthy in terms of, it's going to be scary, as in we're talking about a pretty significant move to the downside. What is the macro degree psychology? So what was very interesting, what Ralph Nelson Elliott figured out in the 1800s and 1900s in all markets, is buying and selling behavior. It's not the news, it's not the fundamentals, it's not the CEO, it's not the new product launch, though that can have short-term impact. It's literally the buying and selling speculation, the herd mentality. So when we can ignore, just forget it's Solana for a second, forget it's crypto for a second. Just think of it as there's a bunch of people, thousands if not millions of people, buying and selling this crypto based on their feeling. And the price action is representing that feeling. So what I'm going to really zoom out. I'm going to really zoom out. Because what we see with Solana, and by the way, over the next 6 days, I'm going to do a 6-day series on the psychology, on why Elliott Waves work and what's reflected in the chart pattern. So over the next 6 days, I'm going to focus on Solana because it's such a textbook chart pattern. I'm going to show you this because I know it's difficult to get your head around this, especially if it's new and especially if you watch the daily news. If you watch the daily news on crypto especially, there's so much fear, uncertainty, and doubt, fear of missing out. There's phases of euphoria, phases of depression. It's crazy. So me personally, I just ignore the news. I don't watch the news because it actually gets in the way of the pure analysis that we're looking at. But if we just look at how Solana is playing out, right? We've really zoomed out all the way from, talking about February 2021. We've had this perfect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave structure. In the 6-day series that I'm going to do from tomorrow onwards, I'm going to break this down. The psychology of the beginning of wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, the point of recognition, wave 4, the surprising disappointment and the profit-taking wave, the wave 5, the hopium wave, and then the bigger correction than any former correction in the former sequence. So with Solana, the reason I'm showing you this is it's not just pessimism. It's not just like it's all doom and gloom for Solana. In the grand scheme of things, what we were covering is just tiny little movement over here. Just tiny little movement here from $40 to $20, right? Okay, percentage terms is big, right? It's 50%. But in the grand scheme of things, knowing that Solana has been as high as, over $250, what should we really look forward to with any market that displays this? Again, forget it's crypto for a second, forget it's Solana for a second. Let's just go, okay, human psychology repeats itself. It might not be exactly, but it rhymes. And with Elliott Waves, what we know is after a 5-wave sequence to the upside, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, when it's complete, and there's certain signals that will tell you that it's complete, what we tend to get next is a correction that is bigger than any former correction in the sequence. In other words, a correction we should anticipate is bigger than this wave 2 correction and bigger than this wave 4 correction. And what did we end up getting? Well, it was a big correction, and we're still in it. It's this massive correction, right? So it's clearly bigger. So what should we now be thinking? Okay, well, the next 1 to 2 weeks, sideways to down, shorting opportunities towards $20. But what's the macro thesis? Well, if we're to go by Elliott Wave and the psychology that tends to play out time and time again, the only logical thing that's going to happen, I'm using the word going to, is probable, like it's probabilities, never certainties. But the probability is so high, this is such textbook behavior of crowd herd psychology. What tends to unfold next is a wave 3. Now, I did a whole 9-part series, I think it was a few months ago, back in December, on Solana and the case for the $1,000 Solana, I think it was, or even above $500, is because of this. This is what we anticipate, right? But we can't make money on this anticipation right now. What we can make money on right now is the shorting opportunity of Solana, which is the detail of, really zooming in, right? Because it looks quite significant when you zoom in like this. We still make some really, really good profits on this way down by shorting the market. So if you want to learn how to do this, take my free Elliot Wave and Fibonacci Masterclass. I cover a lot of depth, like a massive amount of depth. And the Elliot Wave in particular is going to allow you to see the market psychology like nothing else. There's no other tool that I found. Once you know how it works, the psychology that allows you to be 2 steps ahead of the market. And it's the only way, and it's the only thing, it's the method behind the madness of how we project it in advance and then shorting and finding shorting opportunities in advance with Solana. But you can see the thing I'm really excited about and patient for is the reversal. And if we do get that resumption of the former trend, which means all-time new highs over the coming weeks and months or the rest of 2022, that's going to be what's likely to occur. So if you like today's content, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification and bring you a lot of value. Tomorrow, I'm going to start a 6-day series and we're going to cover literally the wave sequence. There's some concepts I want to get across to you in a way that's just going to blow you away in terms of the foundation and the fundamentals of market psychology. Market psychology, and it's the pattern that reflects the psychology. So let's finish off on a quote. I'm going to loop chapter 8. I'm going to go with chapter 8 from my book. It's Henry Ford. It has been my observation that most people get ahead during the time that others waste. Now, I want to suggest something to you and a challenge. Can you go, let's go for maybe one day first, right? We'll start easy, right? One day first, without watching the news, especially the crypto news, and double down on learning Elliot Waves, because all that news is baked into the psychology anyway. But the news is designed to throw you off. And the herd is 9 times out of 10 or 99 times out of 100 wrong. And you don't want to be a part of the herd mentality. You want to be able to stand back, look in an objective manner and go, okay, based on the buying and selling behavior, this is what's likely to occur next. So if you want to learn more about it, take my free Elliot Wave Masterclass. Join me tomorrow for the 6-part series on Solana, where we're going to break down wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's some key points that I want to get across to you, but you'll see this be reflected in most of the cryptocurrencies in your portfolio and the ones that you're watching. All right, I'll see you tomorrow for the 6-part series. I'll see you then.